Hi everyone, it's Nichol Magouirk, and today I have some stamped journaling cards for Project Life featuring the May 2013 Studio AE stamp set, Heartfelt. And I'm also using a lot of other Ali Edwards stamps that coordinate really well with this month's Studio AE stamp set, plus a few other stamps, but mostly I'm concentrating on the Ali Edwards stamps. So I'm going to kind of show you my layout first. These are the cards or the pieces that I'm going to be using in these sheet protectors for Project Life, and I have it kind of laid out so how it fits into the pockets. My hands are moving a lot, sorry about that. Plus I also cut down one of my sheet protectors to work for the page that I'm using. I didn't need quite that many pockets for this week's layout, so you can customize your sheet protectors however you need to for Project Life. Now I'm going to be using many of the same techniques throughout this entire video for these stamped journaling cards or title card or embellishment cards. So a lot of the techniques and different stamping things are going to be repetitive. However, I really wanted to give you a good idea of how I stamped each of the cards. So I'm just starting randomly with one of the cards here that is going to, this is actually going to be a little tab that I'm going to attach to one of the 4x6 photos. So I stamped this little box here with the heart and the handwritten word "you." This is from this month's Heartfelt Studio AE stamp set. Plus I stamped the same image on some Eclipse masking paper. It comes in a roll, or it also comes in sheets. And I cut out the heart part of the image, and then I replaced the mask over my stamped image on my cardstock because I want to add some texture to that heart on the in the little box there. So I'm going to show you how, or that's how I did that. So I wanted to really give my stamped images some dimension. So rather than a more flat appearance of just the really cute little box with the heart and the word, by adding that pop of color inside of the heart, it really adds some dimension and texture. The next thing I did was trim out my little box, and then I stamped or inked up this large background stamp. This happens to be from another stamp company, Impression Obsession. This is one of my favorites. It's called Spatter, and it gives that great distressed look. So you can see that I just added that right over the top of my stamping to give even more texture to that particular stamped image. Then I will simply attach that to my photo, and I can include that into my sheet protector. The next card that I'm going to stamp features another boxed image from the Heartfelt Studio AE stamp set, and I'm going to ink that up again. I'm using the Hero Arts Soft Brown for many of the boxes or on the journaling cards I'm using. And I didn't get a very good image, so I just flipped it over and stamped that again. Again, I'm going to use the masking tape and stamp this image. I'm going to trim that out real quick. Probably skip through a little bit of that because that's not really fun to watch me cut out the mask. But I'm going to cut out the heart again, and so that I can mask off the rest of the box so I can add some texture to the heart image of the stamp. Or rather, the stamped image of the heart. Now before I get to masking that off, I did take this other stamp. It's also from Technique Tuesday, and these are fun little fill-in-the-blank ones which coordinate well with any type of Project Life journaling card that you might be creating, or even cards that you might be creating to send to to friends and family. But I thought that was a really fun one to add to this particular journaling card. There you can see I added my mask. Just gonna, instead of taking my stamp to my image, I found that if I take my image to my stamp and kind of press where the mask isn't covering, I'm getting better coverage. However, I'm not being really particular with my stamping in this instance. I don't mind if it's not completely perfect. I kind of like that imperfect look for this project simply because I'm using a lot of distressing and things like that. So I'm going to trim that out because I need the rest of my mask, and I'll show you. I'm going to replace these little pieces there, and I just kind of pieced it back together because I am going to take my distressed stamp here again, this spatter from Impression Obsession, ink it up with the Soft Sand Hero Arts ink, and then I am going to lay my card on there, just kind of rub all over that, because I want that distressed look on the outs or on the rest of the card, but I don't want it in the inside of the stamped image. So you can see how that just adds all that texture, and I'm going to repeat that same look throughout many of the journaling cards for my Project Life spread for this week. It also comes with this cute little X and check mark that you can add. You can stamp that coordinates with many of the little fill in the blanks and things like that. So that's really fun as well. I am using the Ellie Edwards stamp set that gives the days of the week, and both this it has this kind of bold font, and then there's also a font that's more script. So you could just pick whatever you like for whatever particular week. I thought this coordinated well with the other handwritten looking sentiments and things from the other stamp sets I'm using, so I used the bold one for this week, but I've used the script ones many times in the past. Now, I hadn't stamped this particular stamp before, so that's why I stamped it off on a sticky note or a scrap piece of paper first, just to make sure that I get a good impression, because you never know if it's going to stamp really well the first time. It might have some kind of a finish or whatever from when it was made, so a lot of times I like to just stamp it off first and then I'll stamp it on my project. Now, this number 3 is from a different stamp company as well. I just didn't have the right size of number stamp in any of my Technique Tuesday stamps, so I went with another stamp set. Mix and match. Use whatever you have on hand. So the 3 is from an Avery L stamp set, but then I'm using the Hello, and then you'll see the stamp Week next, and those are from another Ellie Edwards stamp set. It's one that I just love. It gets tons. It's going to get even more use, I think, throughout my Project Life album as I'm catching up. It just has a lot of really great sentiments and journaling card type stamps. Now, the 2013 is from a Studio Calico stamp set, and I really love how all of these coordinate together and work so well to make unique and customized journaling cards and title cards for Project Life, or for any scrapbook page or anything that you might be working on. This sentiment is from another Ellie Edwards stamp set. This is the Just Awesome tabs, I believe, and it's a really great little 3x4 stamp set with tons of greetings, or phrases I should say, that work really well for just adding those little touches that are those little stamped touches, perfect for all kinds of scrapbook type projects. Again, I added the distressing with the Impression Obsession background stamp, and rounded the corners. So there's what my title card looks like. Next, I am creating a journaling card using the big, not quite 3x4, but it fits on a 3x4 card perfectly, journaling stamp from this month's Studio AE stamp set. And I'm going to use the masking tape again to mask off those hearts to really customize it. So it looks great stamped all on its own, but once you add some color, and you could even color in those hearts and do all kinds of different things, I just really wanted to do some masking to show you how easy it is and how fun it is to customize your journaling cards this way. And really, this whole project only took me an afternoon to create. Once I had written out kind of, you know, what photos I was going to use, if I had any journaling on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, I just kind of, you know, took note of that. The planning is what takes more time than anything for Project Life for me, simply to kind of gather and all that information for the week. Once I have that and lay out my page, it comes together really easily. I laid out my stamps, as you could see first, so I knew what I wanted to use, laid out my photos. Once I knew what size photos I needed and had those printed, I lay it out, and then I just simply create. And that part doesn't take very long. If you have it all laid out, like I showed at the beginning of the video, you simply just grab a card and the stamps that go with it and start stamping. So it went together really quickly, which is fun. So I masked off the hearts, and now I am going to use the rest of that mask and mask off the box, because I don't want that distressing part on the inside of my journaling box here. I only want that spatter on the outside. So I'll replace those little hearts there. And I kind of hold on to everything until I'm sure I don't need it anymore, because I needed that little tiny corner you'll see here. I wanted to keep that a clean mask. And this masking tape is wonderful, I should mention. It does not tear, pull off any part of your paper when it comes off. It just peels right off like a sticky note. It is wonderful. Add that spatter there along the edge. Then I'll peel off the mask, and then I did have to create another mask.
That's how come I know he needs to
do those other two hearts along the bottom border in another color. But I'm going to go ahead and skip that because it's the same thing. I just did it in a different color of ink. So now I'm going to add my stamped greetings, and you might recognize this from a couple months back from another Studio AE stamp set. These were really cute, and I thought they coordinated nicely with the rest of the stamps that I was using. And again, this is another greeting from that Just Awesome stamp set that I totally love, as it were. And I'm going to add the little arrows on each side, which I think is another really fun touch. And again, I'm using the Days of the Week stamps because they coordinate back as well. I just love that. I know I say this all the time, and every month when we do a Studio AE blog hop, I always type it in my blog post, but I love how Allie's stamps all coordinate so well together. It's really fun to create a project knowing that she has a whole line of amazing stamps that coordinate and mix and match so well. You're not stuck with not having a stamp that you maybe need to complete the project and you don't have it in the right kind of style. They're all in her great style, and I really love how they all mix and match so well. This is one of my very favorites of hers. It's not new or anything like that, and you've probably seen me use it before, but this journaling card is wonderful, and I use it all the time still. And I did pick lots of her other journaling cards as well to use this week, just to show you how they all mix and match and work so well together for lots of different styles. Another day of the week, and now I'm going to use another stamp from the Just Awesome tabs, and with the little double arrows on each side. Now for this one, I am going to go ahead and use the spatter on the entire background. I'm using a pretty light brown ink here, that Soft Sand from Hero Arts, that it looks a little darker when it's wet like this, but when it dries it really fades, and so if you're writing over the top of it, you really can see it. So it's just kind of up to you whether you want to mask it off or not. It really wasn't worth masking off the box to add my the spatter around the edge, because you really wouldn't see anything. So I went ahead and did it over the entire thing. Now originally my plan, you can see I forgot, I stamped my date at the bottom. I had meant to add this little tab at the bottom, but as it turns out, I'm going to stamp it over here. I'll mask it off like I did before. I'm going to probably skip through a lot of that because it's time consuming. And it's the same thing that I've been doing. And I'm going to add it up at the top of the journaling block instead, and I'll show you that. And so there's what it looks like all stamped up, and I'll just staple that to the top and add my journaling there from there. So the next card that I'm going to create uses another stamp that's very similar in style. I'm going to stamp it again off to on a piece or a sticky note first to make sure that I get a good clean stamped image. And then I will mask it off as I have before. I'm again going to skip through a lot of that, and I'll just show you how I finished embellishing it. And I'm just using a phrase from the Just Awesome tabs, again, because I really love that. You can see I used it a lot. It's a great, more typewriter type font that coordinates back really well with the script style of this month's Studio AE stamp set, as well as with a lot of the other images that are more that scripty style font that I'm using. And add the day of the week, and my card is ready to be journaled on. Now this last one that I'm going to share with you is just an embellishment type card, a filler card, I guess, if you will. I had one space that I didn't really have a photo for, and I didn't really need additional journaling, and so I really thought these stamps were fun. They say this, and the other one says that. They have that fun heart motif that really coordinates back to this month's stamp set, plus the rest of the style that I have going on this page. So I went ahead and stamped these. This one is more of the solid stamp, and the other one's more just the outline. And so with the outline one, I'll do what I've been doing before and mask it off and whatnot to add some color to it. And it's a very simple card, but I think it's really effective. So I'll mask off the heart first, and then I mask off both boxes and add that spatter background to them. So I'm not going to go through that entire thing, and there were a couple more cards, but again, they are all, I use the same technique throughout all of my cards for this week, and so I think this gives you a good idea of how fun it is to use masking for your Project Life journaling cards, or in conjunction with your Studio AE stamp sets or other sets that you might have in your collection. I hope you have enjoyed watching me create some stamped journaling cards for Project Life. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.